Hey everybody, it's UnderMyCap and welcome back to another video where today I'm going to be showing you how to use the Maker Pen. This is part one of a brand new series where I'm going to be showing you how to create inside of Rec Room. So if you do enjoy this, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. There will also be a playlist in the bottom with a whole bunch of future videos for this tutorial series, but if you do like it, make sure to watch the rest of them. It really helps me out. So today we're going to be covering the Create and the Recoloring tool. And to cover that, I'm going to be showing you how to build a very basic table inside of Rec Room, which involves colors as well as textures and also shapes. So we're mainly going to be using Square, but we'll cover a whole bunch of other things in the next videos as we advance. So without further ado, let's get straight into the video. So when you first get your Maker Pen, well actually let's show you how to get it first. You want to go to your watch. So when we actually look at our watch and click on it, we get our watch menu. You can see we have a whole bunch of icons that we can click on. We want to focus on backpack. So let's click on backpack. When you click on backpack, you get four main tools which pop up. If you don't, and it pops up with skins or food, don't you worry. We just click on tools at the very top and then we come to this menu. Now what we want to do is we want to click on use on the Maker Pen, and I'd highly recommend you to also favorite it. Favoriting allows you to be able to pull your Maker Pen out of your back and be able to build whenever you want if you have Maker Pen permissions. So now that we have the Maker Pen, let's cover basically all the parts of it. So when you're in VR, you pull your gun trigger or your trigger handle and you can spawn in a shape. If you're on computer, you click left click. On computer, you'll have the same menu as me with all of the options to build. For now, we'll just undo that. But when you first start building, it's most likely that you are going to only be able to spawn in cubes that are orange. Unlike me, I'm spawning in green cubes because I did a few other attempts of this tutorial and failed miserably. Let's actually look at what we can do with the Create tool. So we can spawn in a whole bunch more shapes and a whole bunch more colors if we just change a few attributes of the Maker Pen. And to change those shapes, those sorts of things, we want to make sure that we're on the Create tool. So make sure you click on that, which is the orange button. And then we're going to want to click on Palette. Now Palette just allows us to select a whole bunch of colors, props, and shapes. It's where we house every single item that we can spawn in. It doesn't really customize anything, it just gives you all of the options. So you can see we have all the shapes here. If I want to spawn in a sphere, I can spawn in a little sphere here. If I want to spawn in a wedge, why not? Let's spawn in a wedge. If I want to spawn in a dodecahedron, I can spawn in a dodecahedron. So we have a whole bunch of options there. Let's just undo those shapes I spawned in. But yes, you get it. We have all the shapes, including tubes, which they are so complex. I mean, they're easy to understand once you use them, but they are so useful in worlds. Like, if you believe it or not, everything behind me here is all made with tubes, or most of the things, like those poles, those trees, that little wishing well, the bushes, all with tubing. So because it's so advanced, that's going to be in one of the next future uploads. But for now, let's just get back to this tutorial. So I'm going to move that back there. Let's make this a little bit straighter. There we are. So now that we know we can select different types of shapes, let's look at what we can change about the color and the look of the shapes. So if we go to our swatches over here, swatches basically just means different type of texture or different type of color for your shapes. So you can see I have a whole bunch of predefined swatches that I've used in some other worlds, but if you do want to customize the color of your shape and the texture, what you can do is you can click on any one of these that you have here. It's most likely just a little orange square for you. And over here, you can actually customize everything about that color. So let's say I want to make a red dodecahedron. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this color. So the color over here is usually here. It might say orange for you. For me, it says teal. We're going to select that. I'm going to select red, hit done. And you notice I can spawn in a red dodecahedron. Now, let's say I want to change the texture of it. Well, don't worry. If we go back to the palette, right under the color that we just selected, there is the texture which we can change. So I used carpet just then, but you can select, from painted bricks, we've got painted wall, dirt, glossy plastic, those sorts of things. So you can select that. And now when I spawn in, you'll notice that it looks a bit different. I mean, there's maybe a bit of shine like there, I think. It's like shiny or reflective, but there is a difference. So let's actually undo that now. And the last part of the colors which we can actually look at is the size. Now you're probably wondering, how do you size a color or how do you size a texture? And basically what size is it's how zoomed in or zoomed out you are on a texture. So let me show you a little example. We're going to use carpet. So this one here is zoomed in around 72%, so it's less than 100% full size. So let's spawn it in right here. You'll notice that it has a certain texture to it. If we zoom in a lot on this, so if we change this little slider all the way up, you'll notice the next shape I spawn in, it's really zoomed in to that texture. Same as if I zoom out a lot, so this is less, this is like 58, so in the middle, you'll notice that the texture is a little bit more detailed, but you can see that it's like smaller than the original one, and it's also larger than the more zoomed in one. So it is a little bit complicated, but that's the sort of thing. So we'll undo that. That's basically the colors that you can do with shapes. Now you can do props as well. I find props a little bit annoying, but they're good to start off with if you're just understanding the Maker Pen. So they're just a whole bunch of assets that you get from other parts of Rec Room. So to get your props, you click on palettes. Right next to swatches, which we're just in, you click on props, and you can see you get a whole bunch of these random props you get. So you can spawn in a sword. You've got a sword now. You can do whatever you want with that. Hit the camera, do that sort of stuff. Let's throw that away. We don't. Oh my god. Okay. Yep. That's a don't throw knives. Do not throw knives. And let's click on cube. Now, one thing I should really cover in the create menu, this is really important, is that you don't always have to spawn in shapes which aren't on a grid. You can see they're not on a grid, they're all really random. So to make it uniform, we can turn on uniform shapes and snapping. So at the very top, you can see there is a little snapping icon grid up here. Just move this here. You can see we got snapping. Snapping's really useful if you want your shapes to stay snapped to a grid. It's really good for alignment. We're going to need it to build the table today. So we're going to set that all the way to grid. And you'll notice now the square doesn't actually rotate and do everything we want now. You can see when I draw it, it stays to a grid. Look at that. All the squares they're all in this grid. And you also notice that when I spawn the shape in, they stay uniform. And that's because I accidentally left that feature on before doing the tutorial. But to turn uniform shapes on, we need to click on create, click on the create tool settings, which is just on the right. Click on that, scroll down, and see uniform shapes. We're going to turn that on. So uniform shapes looks like this, and without uniform shapes, it looks, well, not uniform. You can see the square isn't uniform. So what we're going to do is we're going to use uniform. We're going to turn uniform shapes off. Sorry, we're going to turn that off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just spawn in a square like this. Perfect. I'm then going to duck under the table. So let's move the camera. We're going to move the camera so we're under the table. Now this is just a very basic way to build the table. This is not the best way to do it, but because we're not covering scale or move or anything in this tutorial, we're just doing it like this. So yeah, we're going to build like a leg of the table. You can see over here, we're going to build another leg of the table like so, like this. And then we're going to go over here. So in another video, I'll teach us how to use the clone tool as well as the move tool and the sizing tool. But just to keep this video really simple and straightforward, we're just going to do the basic of, the basics. We're not going into any other details. We're just literally going over the color, spawning in shapes, and using the create tool. So now that we've got that, we've built a basic table. It does look red though, which we don't want. Tables aren't red. So we're going to open up our Maker Pen menu. So let's open that up again. We're going to click on create. We're going to go to palette. We're going to click on swatches. We're going to just click a random one. And now we're going to go back to our color, which we're on before. I'm going to select like a brown color. So that one. And also I'm going to select wooden grain as the texture. And then we just go to tools, Recolor, we'll cover that another time, and click on that, all the shapes we just made, and voila. I did not mean to move the grass, what the hell? As you can see, we built a table, we used the Recolor, we also used the create tools, And yeah, we built a very basic table. You should feel very proud if you got this far. So in the next video, we're going to be covering a few more tools, how to use the select, the move tool, the scale tool, basically how to transform the shape, because you can see here that everything in this table is very off skew. It's not the best. So we're going to be covering a few more advanced things in the next tutorials. But if you did enjoy this tutorial, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. I'm going to stand up because it's really hard crouching down, and I'll see you in the next video. See ya!